Hi everybody, it's Don the AS Lifter coming at you today with a little bit of a different topic, not so much fitness related, but a little bit more related to something that pertained or happened to me this weekend. I volunteered with the SAA, or the Spondylitis Association of America, to be the support group or support group leader for the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We didn't have a leader for the support group in the DFW area, and I figured I could at least contribute back and maybe some positive aspects and try to do a support group. So I had we had our first meeting in the DFW area this weekend for at least the new group. Most of these people already had a group established. The other leader had to step down because of time restraints and I guess scheduling and just life just got a little bit busy and hectic, and I can totally relate to that. But we had our first meeting, and I got to meet several the local AS people at the meeting. So I want to talk about something that, about the meeting itself, and talk about a few other topics. So the name of this video is going to be Sex, Pain, and Support Groups. I ought to catchy title, I ought to get everybody's attention. But at the meeting, I got to meet fellow AS people, people suffering from the disease, and different ages. Half of us were men, another half were women, and then also just different forms of different stages in the disease. So for me, it was very comforting for attending my first support group, and it was a real casual setting. We did it at a restaurant, nothing really formal yet, trying to figure out what direction we want to go to kind of help everybody locally. But for me, I was pretty ecstatic, because other than Facebook, and I've got one neighbor across the street that has AS, which that's kind of weird because my neighbor actually has it too, but I don't really know anybody with AS. I've never really met anybody with AS, like I said, other than Facebook. I never sat down and got to talk to somebody with AS. So for the first time, it was kind of comforting in a way, because I seem to meet other people that suffer the same disease I have. So for me, it kind of helped relate that I'm not alone in this battle. So if you have a local support group in your area, wherever you may live, whatever country you may live in, I highly suggest at least going and meeting other people that suffer, from the disease as well. It throws a little bit more reality into it and puts, I guess, a different spin on it. So for me, it was very educational at the same time. I learned a lot about different battles, realized that we all suffer from the same aspects of the disease, or fight the same battles that, I'd wondered if I was the only one fighting that. So I guess I got confirmation I'm not alone in that aspect. One of the other topics we talked about was pain during flare-ups. And I brought this up because even though I don't have a flare-up, or even though I'm in different stages of disease and some other people, we all have some of the similar pains or some of the similar aches. So by talking this, that was really neat to see that, that we're not alone in the way we feel or the way we suffer at times. A lot of us talked about, real similar aspects of, how we hurt, or how we deal with the pain, or how, everything goes into it. I know that a lot of us talked about, we had wide range of age, I would say, for somewhat. But a lot of us were real open to the idea of cannabis or cannabis oil. Anything to kind of offset some of the pain versus the opioids, the hydrocodones, the fentanyl, all the other stuff that the doctors seem to give us. I'm a big proponent of not trying to use opioids unless it's an absolute necessity. I generally just try to deal with the pain the best I can, and just, if I suffer through it, whatever you want to call it, I just real good, I guess, at masking it a lot of the time. Most of my personal pain comes from I guess just laying down or sitting still for a long period of time. That's where I usually get most of my pain. As long as I'm moving, or as long as I'm active or moving to some degree, I really don't suffer from it. Just when I lay down to go to sleep at night, or I stop and sit at my desk, or sit on the couch and try to watch TV, that's usually about the time it hits. Something else that I found out was real common with a lot of us that I often wondered is, for me, I can't stand for very long periods of time or do something for long periods. I can do something, even in lifting, I can do something extraordinary, but my time frame is pretty limited on how long I can do that for. With me, my back is the first thing that tightens up on me. My back muscles tighten up, and then from there it just kind of goes, everything else starts kind of kicking in as time goes on. I can fight for it, and I know about what my limitations are, and I kind of take things in spells. But as this, as I go into the disease and starting to understand things, I start to understand my limitations a little bit on what I can do. It's not like, even with the weightlifting for me, it's not so much how much I lift, it's just that how long I can lift for. I'm not restricted by amount of weight. I'm restricted by the amount of time I can be in my muscles engaged, or my body engaged in that activity. So I thought that was pretty interesting that a lot of us shared that. One of the ladies there was newly diagnosed. She had been just diagnosed, less than a month before, this meeting. So it was pretty neat to hear somebody that's newly diagnosed trying to, the battles they went through trying to get diagnosed, and some of the other people that had been diagnosed for a while. I found it pretty interesting that a lot of us went through the same battle of being misdiagnosed, people not understanding, and everything else. So I really understood, or got out of this meeting, that a lot of the education needs to be done with the doctors, nurses, and the medical community. I don't believe that a lot of the general practitioners or the general care doctors really understand the concept of autoimmune diseases in general. I was misdiagnosed multiple times before I got the final correct diagnosis, and I realized by talking to everybody else it was almost the same story over and over. Different degrees of it, but a lot of us were diagnosed the same way. I thought that was pretty interesting because, I try to educate doctors as much as I can, at least on the way I feel or what I understand, because I don't think they get exposed to it enough. And I think it's kind of sad because I feel that, there's enough people in America, or in my country, and even the world per se, that suffer from different degrees of autoimmune diseases. I would think or guess that the doctors would understand that, the complexity and the things involved with it, to be a little bit more educated, to know when to send to a specialist or when not to. But again, that's just my opinion on it. One of the ladies at the meeting had mentioned something about trying to talk about sexual, our sexual, relationships with our spouses while we're fighting the disease. I know a lot of people just kind of avoided or kind of blew it off. I did hear her talk about it or mention it, but at the same time, as being a guy, I sometimes don't want to talk about it. But I figured, at least in this video, I relate to kind of what it does, because for a guy especially, I'm sure for women in some degrees too, but for a guy it's an ego thing. For me being a male, knowing that the disease does affect and diminish my sex drive in some ways, it kind of is infuriating and frustrating at the same time. But for me, the issue with the sex drive is not so much that I necessarily don't want to do it, it's just sometimes that doing it hurts. There's more pain sometimes than there's pleasure. And that comes from the hips, the joints, the back being engaged, and some of the other muscles. And it's hard to, then get the enjoyment out of it that you would otherwise as in normal health. So for me, what I try to do is, accommodate my spouse. Even when I'm maybe not in the mood, I still, get in the mood. And also I found, from being a male, that I wondered in some degree if this may be, again, associated with another way to treat or solve it is, I'm in my 40s, so I already have, a lot of people my age or my age group have diminished testosterone. I don't take testosterone injections because I believe once you start testosterone injections or start dosing with the testosterone, that you deplete your hormone, your body becomes dependent on it, and therefore at that point, eat prescription, not prescription, however you want to do it, you're pretty much dependent on it the rest of your life. It goes back to steroid use, and some of the bodybuilders and some of the powerlifters have been so against steroid use because most of those guys are at a young age injecting themselves with testosterone and other supplements or other hormones, and that the problem is that once your body becomes dependent upon it, you stop producing. And for those guys, it's just a mistake. Now, again, being in my 40s, I'm trying to hold out as long as I can before I start taking testosterone injections or hormone injections. I know some people may already be on them. I think that may be part of our problem is the pain, at least from a male standpoint, diminishes or decreases the use of testosterone or the production of testosterone. So I think that, and it also increases estrogen for men, which is the opposite of the sex drive. It's kind of a sexual killer. So I think what I try to do for me, or what I've been finding out, is that if I take natural, testosterone boosters, which are not an injection, it's not the hormone itself, but it's basically a supplement, a plant-based supplement that helps you produce more testosterone naturally. and then I also take what they call an estrogen blocker on top of it, which again is another plant-based supplement that helps suppress the production of estrogen, because when you produce testosterone as a male, you automatically produce estrogen. So if I can increase my testosterone naturally and decrease my estrogen naturally, I'll have more of a testosterone boost, and therefore I'd have a little bit better of a sex drive. So that's, kind of what I wanted to talk about. I know from a guy, again, it's hard to talk about this, and I know a lot of us suffer from it, if not most of us. We just generally don't want to talk about it much. But anyways, that's kind of on that. So I'd like to highly suggest that if you have a support group in your area, for whatever association it may be in. For us, it's the Spondylitis Association of America, because I'm here in the United States. I would highly suggest, going to those support groups and everything else. I know there's plenty of other great organizations out there. I stay in contact with the Canadian Spondylitis Association as well, and I know that's a great group, organized group up there. They have a lot of helpful information, a lot of background. The president of that association is very active, and he's a great guy. So if you happen to be watching these videos and live in Canada, seek out the Canadian Spondylitis Association. If you're in America, seek out the Spondylitis Association of America. And I know most of the European countries have them as well. But I highly suggest at least going to a support group once, meet other fellow people that suffer the disease if you don't know any, because it's interesting to talk and kind of relate. One of the things that we talked about too at this meeting that never really dawned on me, but talking to one of the guys, he mentioned that I guess the important thing is catching the disease as early as possible. Again, I ignored some of the early signs of AS, just being hard-headed, and I'm kind of seeing that was a common, at least, theme with the guys. A lot of the guys in the beginning, when we got the aches and pains, we just took it as, it's getting older and my joints hurt. It's from working out or from work or labor or whatever the case may be. But that was the beginning signs, and we could have caught the disease at an early stage. I happen to be fortunately lucky, especially meeting other people that are further progressed in the disease, to know that I'm in a pretty early stage of it. Even though I've got a little bit of fusion in my lower back, I don't have near the fusion that some of these other gentlemen and ladies may have. So I'm pretty blessed at that. And that goes back to, again, the importance of being moving or staying active. And it's not necessarily physical fitness active, but active in general. It could be anything. I mean, again, like I've preached before, is walking, fishing, gardening, doing things around the house. Could be anything you love to do. Hiking. There's one individual that sent me a picture I thought was pretty interesting, that they're hiking again. Even with the AS, even with some of the pain, even with all that, everything that they deal with, they're hiking again. And for people that don't know anything about AS or ankylosing spondylitis, I'm a sufferer of the disease. I fought many battles. It scared the hell out of me, especially during my last major flare-up that led to my diagnosis, or the flare-up to lead to diagnosis. It was a pretty horrific time. People with ankylosing spondylitis, I may look like an average person in front of you, but you can't see the battle that's actually fighting within my body. I think a lot of people don't relate or understand that. I remember one of the gentlemen at the meeting we went to mentioned his boss doesn't believe that the disease exists. I was thinking in my mind, I was like, man, that's crazy. When you think about it, they won't even. I mean, they're not even looking, and they don't even believe it. Another lady mentioned the same thing, that they didn't believe that their boss would believe the same way, or their employer would believe the same thing. I was thinking in my mind, again, that goes back to advocacy. All of us suffering with the disease, we don't talk about it enough. We don't talk about some of the struggles we deal with enough. I'm lucky. The fact that I'm still mobile enough to still do some of the things I love, and I caught it at a time where I can manage it with diet, fitness, and the medicine. And I'm a big proponent of biologicals because they work on me. I know some people tend to want to use diet or whatever to make it natural remedies. Hey, if you can do it and kill the inflammation and kill everything, man, more power to you. For me, the diet just doesn't work. I have to have the biological, at least to kill the disease. Now, maybe if I caught it early enough, maybe the diet may have worked a little bit better, but at least I'm at the point where I do have to have the biological, but I'm at a point also early enough to where I'm still able to be mobile and active and interact. Again, you know, everybody out there that's suffering this disease, you know, I know that for me, for up until especially this meeting, even though I'm talking to people online, you know, I really thought I was in this thing in a lot of the battles myself, and I realize I'm not. I was pretty happy and pretty impressed with that. One of the things that's coming up for me is the Ankylosing Spondylitis Association is having a yearly meeting for all the support group leaders and some of the educational classes that they're doing. It's going to be in Denver at the end of April. I'm going to personally go and attend this because I want to learn more and become better active and become more proactive to be a better, you know, better information source or advocate for, you know, trying to educate people on our disease. So I'm pretty psyched and happy about, you know, getting a chance out there because I get to meet fellow people that are in the same battle suffering and get to kind of, you know, hear their battles and also hear their triumphs, because all these people are in a different stage of, you know, trying to promote awareness, you know, help, and then in a positive sense, you know, give back to other people fighting the disease as well. So again, hey, if you're out there, if you never heard of me, follow my channel. It's Don the AS Lifter. I'm on YouTube. Click that subscribe button that's attached to the bottom of this video. Also, I'm on Instagram as Texas Markham, and I'm on Facebook. A great Facebook page. It's if you want to follow my journey, it's called Don Markham: A Fitness Journey with Ankylosing Spondylitis. Again, all the AS warriors out there, thank you for your support. All the subscribers that follow me, hey, again, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for y'all. Thank everybody that has given me the kind words. I know I've had a few people out there have said some negative things, and it I kind of shrug. I don't really take it to heart because I know the disease can be kind of horrific and painful at times and make us miserable. So I don't take any of that to heart. So if you said something kind of nasty to me, either through the Facebook group or whatever, hey guys, you know, I understand that, you know, it sucks at times and you're battling through it, but you know, please, you know, at one time, you know, please just at least be open-minded enough to listen to some of my videos and hear, you know, how I'm doing or what I'm doing. Maybe you know, you can carry your own message and do your own video. Again, everybody, thank you for the support. Click that subscribe button. I hope to see all the other people that may be watching this that are in the SAA association that are going to Denver. Hopefully I can see some of y'all there, maybe meet with y'all and then kind of introduce, you know, from there forth. And again, everybody, thanks.